Your top stories this evening, sponsored by Courts Bringing Value Home. Pace Justice Project aims to clear courts' backlogs. TODD says APNU'S loss at elections is not a loss, but rather a setback for a greater comeback. DABY'S Alibi checks out so far cleared of LOLA doll shooting. And President's College, one of Guyana's premier learning institution, celebrates its 40th anniversary. HGP Nightly News begins now. Good evening and welcome to our viewers here in Guyana and online. I'm ALETHEA with the Thursday, 11th September 2025 edition of the HGP Nightly News. This is what you should know this evening. A $73 million boost in information technology equipment to Guyana's justice sector, coupled with new training on case management, restorative justice and criminal mediation, is expected to significantly reduce case backlogs and strengthen efficiency in the courts. Find out more from Tiana Cole.
The United Nations Development Programme UNDP in Guyana and a partnership of the Caribbean and European Union on Justice, PACE Justice Regional Programme on Thursday, opened a major training initiative focusing on case management in the magistrates' courts, High Court and Court of Appeal. The training, which falls under the EU-funded PACE Justice Project, is part of a broader effort to modernize Guyana's justice system by building institutional capacity and deploying technology across the police, courts, prisons, and prosecutors' office. Katie Thompson, resident representative of UNDP Guyana and Suriname, highlighted that the project has already delivered $73 million worth of IT equipment to key agencies including the Guyana Police Force, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, and the Ministry of Home Affairs.
To manage in the world of AI, both to use that as a tool that helps you do your work, but also to make sure the limits of that are clearly demarcated and respected.
Acting Chancellor Justice Roxanne George, in brief remarks, underscored that the judiciary has been engaged in structured case management, especially in criminal matters, since the enactment of the Sexual Offences Act in 2010 and during the COVID-19 pandemic.
This training will therefore further enhance our capacity and capability to better address our caseloads so as to ensure that indeed justice delayed is not justice denied.
She stressed that the training complements other ongoing initiatives such as judgment writing workshops and treating cases as projects to ensure efficiency.
This training also dovetails with our strategic plan, which emphasizes continuing judicial education and the implementation of performance standards so as to ensure an effective and efficient judicial system.
The PACE Justice Project, funded by the European Union and implemented by UNDP in partnership with the Government of Guyana through the Ministry of Legal Affairs, aims to reduce case backlogs and improve justice delivery through technology and capacity building. Tiana Cole reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
A Partnership for National Unity does not consider the election results a defeat, despite the fact that the party was crushed, lost its position as the primary parliamentary opposition, and gave up long-standing traditional strongholds. That's according to attorney at law and party candidate Dexter Todd. Antonio Day reports.
Dexter Todd, who was among the candidates for the Partnership for National Unity, said that although his party lost primary position as a parliamentary opposition, it had a chance to share its message and vision for Guyana, which it feels will progress the nation and enhance the quality of life for its citizens, he continued.
We had an opportunity to sell a clear message and to share a vision for Guyana, which we believe will advance our people and put our people on the right path.
Regarding the result, Todd characterized it as a brief setback rather than a loss.
I don't see this as being a loss. I see this as being a delay. There is a delay in delivering what I believe what APNU will be able to do for the people of Guyana. Just a delay. But I always say a delay is not a denial.
Todd emphasized that the result gives APNU a chance to keep interacting with the public and informing them of the party's vision, even though he expressed disappointment that the party's message did not resonate as widely as anticipated, in part of low voter turnout. The attorney-at-law said that his party's setback would not deter supporters nor members from continuing on the same path of educating the people and interacting with the masses to also make them understand the vision for Guyana. Todd noted that citizens must exist under a government where law and order should prevail. The legal expert emphasized that APNU had the good fortune to witness the living conditions of numerous citizens, particularly those residing in impoverished areas. Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Antonio Day tells us now that Norris Witter, president of the Ghana Trades Union Congress, said those who occupy the seat of government must not overlook the irregularities which were unearthed during the recently concluded 2025 general and regional elections. Witter contends that these elections were neither free nor fair. Here is more.
Norris Witter, president of the Ghana Trade Union Congress, reminded all elected and appointed officials that they are servants of the people and must represent a true democracy. In an exclusive interview with Nightly News, Witter said that GTUC cannot ignore the numerous anomalies observed during the electoral process.
That there were a number of persons on the list who were Commonwealth citizens, persons primarily from India.
According to Mr. Witter, anomalies like Commonwealth citizens who cast ballots despite not meeting the naturalization requirement tainted this year's election results. He said there is no way that these elections were free and fair. Witter mentioned that GTUC had discussed these irregularities with the Ghana Elections Commission, but sadly the problems remain unresolved even on election day.
We met with GCOM to discuss those concerns that we have had, and none of the fears that we have expressed were addressed by the chairman or the CU. Now, all those fears that we have expressed then at the press conference and at the level of GCOM have all today been validated.
The veteran trade unionists stated that lawmakers must immediately address this electoral conundrum. The president of the GTUC urged all members of the incoming National Assembly to use their constitutional right to introduce legislation that updates the voters list and add biometrics to prevent irregularities.
For some of the changes to be effective, it will require legislation. Therefore, the government will have to have the will. And whichever party controls the parliament will have to have the will to pilot such legislation.
Mr. Witter urged that his demands are a democratic necessity rather than a partisan one. He flagged that the current 7-member composition of GCOM, which depended on the expired Carter formula during the 1992 elections, should no longer be applicable going forward. Witter believed that the electoral body must and should be composed of civil society groups which are apolitical. Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Join us after the break. We have more news for you. Welcome back with the HGP Nightly News. The Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation says an internal investigation has been launched after a video surfaced on social media showing a patient in a vulnerable state while receiving emergency care. Tiana Cole filed that report.
A video which has sparked outrage online was confirmed to feature popular social media personality Lolita Calendar, also known as Lola Doll. In a statement, the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation GPHC said the matter is being taken extremely seriously and that an orthopedic technician has been identified as the suspect. Importantly, the individual was not scheduled for duty at the time the patient was admitted to the hospital. The hospital has since handed the matter over to the Ghana Police Force to be pursued under cybercrime laws. Quote unquote. The corporation wishes to remind all staff, patients, and the general public that Video recording and photography within our facility is strictly prohibited unless expressly authorized by management, the statement read. The hospital extends apologies to Kalenda and her relatives, stressing that any breach of privacy violates hospital policy, professional ethics, and patient trust. Safeguarding the dignity, privacy, and well-being of patients remains the highest priority, and they continue to take all necessary measures to uphold these standards, the statement concluded. Kalenda, widely known as Lola Doll, was shot multiple times on Saturday night, September 9, 2025, as she sat in her car after arriving home. She was rushed to GPHC, where she underwent emergency treatment. Doctors have since reported that her condition is improving, and she has been interviewed by police investigators about the shooting. According to the Ghana Police Force, the first suspect arrested in connection with the incident was released on $500,000 station bail after the 72-hour detention period expired. However, businessman Paul Daby Jr., who surrendered earlier this week following the issuance of a wanted bulletin, was on Thursday released on $1 million station bail. Daby Jr., who was recently sanctioned by the U.S. government over alleged ties to drug trafficking, is being questioned as part of the ongoing probe. Investigators are also reviewing surveillance footage and police CCTV recordings from nearby utility poles to identify the shooter. Lola Doll was shot to the face, arms, and legs. Tiana Cole reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Meanwhile, the alibi of a wanted man has checked out by police, and so far, he has been cleared from any ongoing murder investigation. Travis Chase reports.
The police seem to have found no evidence to confirm that Paul Daby Jr., known as Randall, is responsible for the shooting of social media personality Lolita Kalenda, popularly known as Lola Doll. A source familiar with the investigation told Nightly News that investigators checked out Daby's alibi and that he was at home when Lola was shot, between his home and the home of the mother of his child. Daby's attorney, Sayand Dujon, when contacted for a comment, would only say that his client has been released on $1 million bail. Dujon said the police questioned and interviewed his client at length in his presence on several occasions during his period in custody. The attorney said investigators even accompanied Daby to his home to assist in the retrieval of footage to corroborate his alibi. Meanwhile, the first suspect, police said, has also been released on $500,000 bail on condition that he reports to the police. Kalenda was shot multiple times outside her home at Texas Square, East Rhymeville, Georgetown, on Saturday, September 6, 2025. Video footage showed a motorcycle passing Kalenda's car, then parked a short distance away. The gunman quickly dismounted the bike, approached the vehicle, and fired multiple rounds at Kalenda. The suspect then returned to the motorcycle and fled the scene. Lola Doll's condition at hospital is reported to be improving, and the police have since been able to interview her about the incident. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News.
The Forward Ghana Movement's presidential candidate has indicated that her party's approach in dealing with the oil and gas sector, foreign relations, and climate change will be different. Marvin Cato reports.
I know one of the things that we're going to be advocating for is for the committees of Parliament to meet. It is very, very important for us that we allow the people of Guyana to have a say.
That was Amanza Walton Desir, Forward Guyana Movement FGM's presidential candidate and soon-to-be member of the 13th Parliament. On the issue of the existing production sharing agreement with ExxonMobil, she reminded of the importance of ensuring Guyanese enjoy equal benefits.
So I believe a key component of making sure that Guyanese feel a part of this new PSA is to convene that Natural Resources Committee and invite experts.
Managing the country's oil resources and the brewing issue with Venezuela and the United States cannot be overlooked.
We observe the geopolitical winds that are converging now, particularly given the military maneuvers in the Atlantic.
It means Guyana therefore has to be strategic with its affairs, she contends.
Guyana will have to depend on a combination of a national unity approach. They'll have to depend on a very shrewd diplomatic cadre, which I'm afraid we do not have at the moment.
She also highlighted that climate change is a serious issue affecting low coastal territories like Guyana. Hence, we policymakers must be cognizant of how it is dealt with. Marvin Cato reporting for HGP Nightly News.
We have more news for you on the other side of the break. Stay with us.
Planning a cleanup.
Thanks for staying with us. You with the HGP Nightly News. The community of All Boys Town was thrown into chaos on Thursday after a massive fire ripped through James Street, reducing homes to ashes and leaving families scrambling to save their lives and belongings. Divisional Officer of the Guyana Fire Service, Otis Charles, confirmed that 6 fire tenders rushed to the scene after receiving a call. At least 3 buildings were completely destroyed, while several others suffered significant damage. Among the victims is a 26-year-old single mother of 3 who recounted how she awoke to screams and smoke filling her rented apartment. With nothing but the clothes on their backs, she and her children now face the painful reality of starting over. While they managed to escape unharmed, she admitted that help came a little too late. The cause of the fire is still under investigation, but for residents of James Street, the damage has already been done. Free-flowing, dynamic and well-liked former parliamentarian on the Partnership for National Unity and leader of the newly formed Forward Guyana movement, Amanza Walton Desire, has confirmed that she will take up the movement's lone seat in the National Assembly. Marvin Cato has been following that story.
She confirmed the suspicions by many pundits that she would be the one taking on the challenge in the National Assembly when she spoke with the media on Wednesday. Walton Desire frontally answered the question when asked, responding affirmatively when asked who would represent FGM in Parliament. On Tuesday, while on the program Reset, Walton Desire stated that her first priority in the National Assembly will be advocating for electoral reform. This particular issue has been a burning one for our movement, and it was raised multiple times on the campaign trail. She emphasized the urgent need to address the current structure of the Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, declaring GECOM is no longer useful in its current configuration. It has to be reformed. As of right now, the configuration of GECOM cannot reflect the political reality. There are 3 political parties in opposition who are our commissioners. So there's a lot that we have to unpack in the coming weeks, clearly signaling to our former party, PNCR, that the status quo has to change. FGM and WIN has to be represented at GECOM. A long-standing member of the People's National Congress Reform, PNCR, and Shadow Minister of Foreign Affairs in the 12th Parliament, Walton Desire officially resigned from the PNCR in June 2025. Shortly after she launched her own political movement, Forward Guyana, she later formed a coalition with Nigel London's The People's Movement, TPM, and Darwin Best's Vigilant Political Action Committee, VPAC, creating the United Political Front, now known as FGM. The coalition managed to secure a seat in Parliament following the general and regional elections held on September 1, with around 4,300 votes. Walton Desire returning to familiar home, Parliament, this time as a FGM candidate as party decides she will be their parliamentary representative. Marvin Cato reporting for HGP Nightly News.
A dispute is unfolding in Sir Brian as residents threaten legal action against Mays Private School over the construction of prefab classrooms on the Farnham community ground. Jada June has that story.
A dispute has erupted in Sir Brianville over the erection of temporary prefabricated buildings on a section of the Farnham ground to house Mays Private School students, who were displaced after a devastating fire destroyed the school building in March.
The issue as we speak is the challenge between what we give to him as against what he did at present.
The school's owner, David Sugrim, is being called out by residents who claimed he breached agreements with the Georgetown mayor and city council by constructing the buildings without approval. The council had initially permitted the school to erect tents on the grounds for 1 year, from March 2025 to March 2026, but no authorization was granted for permanent or temporary structures.
We initially didn't grant it on that request. What we did is ask him to look around and to seek other venues before we look at that.
Outraged Sobrianville residents called for legal action, saying they were never consulted before the council approved the school's use of community ground. In response, Mayor Alfred Mentor issued an apology for the lack of engagement with residents, but acknowledged that Sugrim acted unilaterally.
We didn't approve that. We approved a situation where he could have the school under the tent instead of having the school on these prefab arrangements.
Mentor said Sugrim has since been instructed to submit a formal application to both the M&CC and CH and PA for retroactive approval. Several prefab buildings had already been erected, with more under construction. The mayor, however, struck a conciliatory tone, emphasizing his belief in finding a win-win solution. He stressed that a workable solution will be in place for both students and residents.
Or even whatever we would punish him with, it will fall on the kids. The kids and them having an education trumps anything that we would want to do, or even the residents' push to not have the school there.
Residents remain unconvinced, arguing that the structures represent a violation of public trust and a total disregard for community spaces. Meanwhile, Sugrim is reportedly preparing a separate application to construct a permanent facility on the school's original site. Jada Drew reporting for HGP Nightly News.
And still in the education sector this time, Jada June will tell us that President's College is celebrating its 40th anniversary with pride as current students and administrators reflect on the school's enduring legacy of academic achievement, leadership development, and community spirit. The milestone celebration highlights 4 decades of excellence and the institution's role in shaping generations of leaders.
President's College, one of Guyana's premier secondary schools, is celebrating its 40th anniversary, and both students and staff are reflecting on the institution's remarkable journey. For the fifth form student, Takia Singh, capturing a sense of camaraderie and pride shared by many students during her time at the school has been nothing short but transformative.
Hi, my name is Takia Singh. I'm in fifth form, the art stream. And my time at President's College has been truly a memorable one so far.
Principal Samantha's success also reflected on the school's growth over the past 4 decades, emphasizing its commitment to academic excellence.
President's College would have evolved. And what is greatest achievement is maintaining its motto, which is we strive for excellence.
She added that the school's history is deeply tied to its ability to create equal opportunities for all students, regardless of their background, since Miss Success is also trained to be a nation builder.
One of the greatest legacy is that all ethnicities come to President's College, and so there's equal opportunities for all to learn.
Principal Success noted that the school has remained steadfast in its mission to create nation builders, pointing to its rich culture of camaraderie and achievement.
Some key milestones is that any student that enters this institution, you actually adopt that camaraderie of brother and sisterhood.
Highlighting that President College achievements extend beyond academics, sports, the arts, and other extracurricular activities are also prominent features.
And we maintain our sports. No matter what sport it is, we maintain it. And I must say, we are the inaugural national champions.
The principal emphasized that the institution's success is measured not by just test scores, but by personal and professional growth of its alumni, many of whom hold significant roles in Guyana and abroad.
In this 40th year, we have where one of the first batch students, 2 son boys, will now be, come 1st of October, I think quoting the right thing, the CEO of the Guyana Republic branch. We also, over the decades, have gotten great doctors, great cardiologists like Dr. Mahendra Karpen. We have a lot of lawyers.
With 40 years on, President's College remains a beacon of excellence, offering not only top-tier academics, but also opportunities for students to thrive in leadership, sports, and the arts, solidifying its place as a cornerstone of Guyana's education system. Jada June reporting for HGP Nightly News.
Stay tuned for regional news.
Good evening and welcome to Thursday's edition of the Regional News. We begin with news in the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. The Trinidad and Tobago government on Wednesday said that it is committed to working shoulder to shoulder with the United States and other international and regional partners to defeat terrorism worldwide. In a message marking the 24th anniversary of the September 11, 2001 terrorist attack in the United States, Prime Minister Kamala Bessar said that Trinidad and Tobago stands with the global community in the solemn remembrance of the nearly 3,000 innocent lives lost in the quote-unquote horrific terrorist attacks on the United States. She said that among those killed were 14 Trinidad and Tobago nationals, adding that their sacrifice is a painful reminder that terrorism recognizes no borders, no creed, and no humanity. She said that while the world has changed since that dark day, the threat of terrorism endures. These modern scourges are weapons of terror that destroy lives, destabilize societies, and rob our children of their future. She said her government is committed to working shoulder to shoulder with the United States and other international partners to defeat these threats. We will remain vigilant and resilient, defending our people and our values without fear or hesitation, she added. Turning attention to news in Haiti. The Under-Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs, Tom Fletcher, on Wednesday ended a visit to Haiti, stressing that the French-speaking Caribbean community country needs urgent support amid immense suffering. United Nations Stephane Dujarric, speaking at the daily news briefing, told reporters that prior to his departure, he visited a center that provides support for women and girls who are survivors of gender-based violence. Dujarric said that at the Care Fan Women's House Support Center, he met women who survived brutal sexual attacks and lost their lives and homes in the violence. The organization, which is supported by the United Nations Population Fund, is providing essential medical services and psychosocial support, Dujarric said, adding that I think recently we told you that the horrific level of gender-based atrocities going on in Haiti. He said at a displacement site in the capital where many have sought safety from rising insecurity, Fletcher listened to people whose lives have been destroyed by brutal violence. Living conditions are extremely difficult, with many families displaced multiple times in search of safety. The Undersecretary General stressed that the people there want health care, they want clean water, they want education for their children, and they just want a chance to rebuild their lives. Dujarric said, quoting Fletcher as saying, the world must do better for them. Fletcher also visited a youth center where he met young people, once trapped by violence, who are learning new skills. And finally, with some international news. Charlie Kirk, a close ally of President Donald Trump, was shot while speaking at a Utah Valley University. The authorities were still searching for the shooter, with no one in custody. Hopes for the fast capture of the person who fatally shot the right-wing activist Charlie Kirk in Utah evaporated on Wednesday when Kash Patel, the FBI director, announced that the authorities had released a man he had described as a central subject of a multi-agency manhunt. And I quote, "The subject in custody has been released after an interrogation by law enforcement," Mr. Patel wrote on his X account, adding, "Our investigation continues." Thank you for watching. I am Antonio Day. Goodbye for now and be safe.
Pace Justice Project aims to clear court's backlog. TODD says APNU'S loss at elections is not a loss, but rather a setback for a great comeback. DABY'S Alibi checks out so far, cleared of LOLA doll shooting. And the President's College, one of Guyana's premier learning institutions, celebrates its 40th anniversary. Those are our major headlines. For these stories and more, please go to our website. It's www.hgptv.com. I'm ALETHEA Grant. Thanks for watching.